I'd like to open the floor for the next half hour, giving it first to our lead discussant, Dr. Daniel Tygel, the Operations Manager for Intercontinental Network for the Promotion of Social Solidarity and Economy. You have the floor.
Your Excellency, the moderator, thanks for the invitation from DESA and NGLS to participate in this so rich debate. I must admit that this session gives me much more hope about the role of HLPF in the SDGs process. It's great to see how the proposals become more consistent and concrete when we look at the problems from the regional perspective, mainly when this perspective is built upon public consultations among governments and the organized civil society. I'd like to congratulate the regional commissions for that. Before I add some comments to the questions and react to the panelists, I am excited to formally announce today the release of the Social Solidarity Economy recommendations for the post-2015 Sustainable Development Agenda after a one-year-long consultation process involving thousands of global and grassroots organizations from more than 70 countries in the 5 continents. These recommendations, distributed to you in English, Spanish, and French, provide a comprehensive and concrete set of proposals based in the practices of social solidarity economy initiatives in the territories and communities. We hope that this can contribute to broaden and give a fresh air to the global vision of the SDGs, recognizing social solidarity economy as an important development strategy which integrates social, cultural, environmental, political, and economic dimensions. To the question on means of implementation, most of what has been said resonates strongly with our proposals and analysis, especially Latin America, West Asia, and Africa, what has been said by Alicia, Rima, and Carlos, and in some aspects Asia. So I will only add some points that were not cited and are complementary to the Regional Commission's contributions. For technology transfer, we should see technology and knowledge as a common asset. I'd like to complement that the actual model of knowledge patenting is very Europe or North America oriented. Ancient knowledges in health, agriculture, autochthonous seeds, popular education, culture are all not valued as important internal resources and therefore have no support for being scaling up as formal public policies, both national and international. This is also true for open source, linked open data, and the commons and free knowledge. Another aspect is the need to bind trade agreements under human rights and solidarity economy principles as a means of implementation, going further the way of the, I'm very glad to know that we had the recent approved binding of transnationals in the last Human Rights Council on June 26. We should go beyond this and also try to bind trade agreements under human rights so that things like what's going on in Argentina would not repeat. It is not only about quantity of financial resources, this is another remark I'd like to do, but the quality of the programs and policies that implement them. Unfortunately, there is still an ostensive invisibilization of a whole world of knowledge, popular technologies, and economic activities besides the hegemonic for-profit private sector or public sector. People who are marginalized, indigenous people, women, youth, people with disabilities, unemployed, peasant farmers, are creating millions of solidarity-based economic activity in all sectors without almost no core development-oriented policies. Or worse, in many cases, they are being criminalized by the policies which are only directed to the formal sector or big for-profit enterprises. We should open our minds out of the box when thinking about public-private partnerships to incorporate this reality. These community and collective-owned initiatives are better adapted actors to provide goods and services both locally and nationally, even in infrastructure projects related to access to water, energy, housing, among others, since they have in its heart positive social and environmental impacts synchronized to the economic dimension, as said by Carlos. As an example, we could have clear goals and indicators for public policies and mechanisms to create a favorable environment to enable social solidarity economy to flourish by prioritizing investment in small-scale agroecologic and organic food production to serve local consumption needs rather than export markets or commodity stock markets. Promote land reform and redistribution, legislative protective measures to prevent land grabs, and promote quality certification based on peer assessment and support. We should create social solidarity economy appropriate legislative and legal frameworks, providing low-cost capital, social and ecological criteria for solidarity-based public procurement. Let's look at the states, at the capacity of buying by public procurements as a means of providing sustainable development goals. And also privilege the access to infrastructure and funding for development aid in these fields. Internationally, besides taxing speculative financing and trying to prevent illicit flows, which is very important and was commented by the panel, on the other hand, there should be also a positive agenda. There should be national and international agreements that exempt social solidarity economy and small and medium enterprises of any taxes to stimulate a positive trade of goods which have positive social and environment impacts where they are produced. Let's think about both sides, negative and positive. And to finish, finally, when talking about how the financing comes and becomes reality locally in the territories, the countries should recognize and promote social solidarity economy finances tools as new actors in the financial world, besides the traditional banks and for-profit microcredit organizations. They can be local operators of development funds, since they know accurately the reality, the specificities, and the needs of the communities where they belong. So they are centered on the promotion of the community and not on trying to make profit of the poor communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tygel.